It's time for Viewpoint with US93's Mike Sigelman.
Good morning and welcome to Viewpoint. My name is Mike Sigelman, President and General Manager of US93. This morning on Viewpoint, we have as our guest Assistant Professor at Purdue University, Olivia Bennett Wood. Good morning, Olivia, and welcome to Viewpoint.
Nice to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. It is assistant professor, right?
Yes.
Okay, not associate professor.
No.
I believe there is a difference.
There he is.
Okay, well, thank you for being on our show here this morning. Many months ago, I said to myself that I had to start doing something about losing some weight. I've had the opportunity to find out I'm not the only one concerned about it. People all over America are concerned about their waistlines, concerned now. For the first time in many years, people are a little more concerned about what they're eating, concerned about nutrition, concerned perhaps even about good values in food. So I began to become so interested in the subject that I looked around the greater Lafayette area for somebody that knew a lot more about it than I did. And finding so many people were concerned about this subject, I found Olivia Bennett Wood at Purdue University. Olivia, you've been with Purdue University in the Department of Foods and Nutrition for some time now. Am I right about that?
About 8 years.
About 8 years. And over that period of 8 years and teaching people the subject of food, I assume you've had an opportunity to not only talk a lot about it and study it. What makes people, over the years that you've been in the world of nutrition, what is their basic concern about food? Is it good nutrition, or is it just the waistline? Or what really has made this subject so important now that you can even buy pills across the counter that can hopefully control your food intake? Why have people become so concerned about what they're eating?
Well, I think people are concerned at a different level now. I think people are much more educated about food and nutrition in general. They read a lot more. They're much more educated about the fact that nutrition is related to disease, and they're interested in preventing disease, so they're interested in trying to find out how nutrition can do that. They are much more aware on the general public's part of what's in food. A lot of the public now will speak to you in terms of nutrients rather than talking about an apple. Mm-hmm. So their general awareness is much higher, and I think that is probably because of the mass media. There is a lot more on television, a lot more on radio,
Mm-hmm.
a lot more in the newspaper about
Mm-hmm.
nutrition and disease, about preventive nutrition. And then I think 10, 15 years ago, we really got into this physical fitness thing, and it may have started as a fad, but it is certainly continuing, so I don't think we could call it that anymore. And that's when people tended to get more concerned about waistline.
Perhaps it even dates back to the late President Kennedy, who started the jogging thing.
May very well.
When you are looking at nutrition, you're looking at not only food intake, I assume, but you also have to be concerned about how much exercise a person gets, what his energy needs are. Am I right about that?
Right. When we talk to someone about weight control, primarily that a weight control program has 3 components to it. And one of those components is a diet component, a nutrition component, where they learn how to eat correctly. Mm-hmm. Another component is an exercise component. An exercise component is tremendously important. And lots of times we call on co-professionals in physical education to go into exercise component.
I see.
For example, getting off just a little bit on that sidetrack, it's very important that people learn how to pace themselves and learn what the proper exercise is, and they don't just jump in running 20 miles they couldn't go 20 miles the first day, but 5 miles the first day, and that they do pace themselves regularly. And then the third component of that program is a behavior modification, because if someone has a weight problem, losing that weight isn't going to make that problem go away. If they don't learn how to modify their whole behavior, their whole eating behavior, it will return. And so there's a very important component, which is relearning how to eat, a behavior modification. And we use psychologists in that component. So it's really a very multidisciplinary field in terms of weight control. I would be the expert to help in terms of nutrition,
Sure.
but I would call on someone in physical fitness for the exercise component, and I would prefer to have a behavior psychologist help with the behavior modification.
Let's talk for a few minutes about nutrition. Today, there's a lot of convenience foods, whether it's the fast food restaurant or the pizza or Even our cereal that we have in the morning is supposedly supposed to be balanced with vitamins. We eat too much sugar, perhaps. One of the great concerns of the last couple of years has been the utilization of salt. In general, let's talk a little bit about nutrition as far as food is concerned, and what kind of foods are better for you, and what are some of the foods that you should perhaps watch your intake on. Can we do that for a moment?
Sure. I think probably the best set of guidelines to tell the listeners about, and I can tell them where they can write and get a copy of these too if they're interested.
Fine.
The dietary guidelines for Americans came out about 2 years ago, and they were a joint effort between the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Health and Human Services. The Department of Health and Human Services, if that doesn't ring a bell, is the old Department of Health, Educational Welfare.
Okay.
It has a new name. They came out with 7 guidelines, which are general guidelines for healthy Americans to follow. These are not for people that already have medical problems, but for healthy Americans. And I'd like to just run through those
Fine.
7.
Let's take a look at those, because one of the reasons I wanted to talk with you this morning is we have a lot of our listeners that have said that they have a problem. What should they do about it? And in talking to our listeners, we said, well, we'd like to find a way. And I think your information may be a great value to them. So let's take a look at the 7 nutritional dietary guidelines for Americans. Go ahead.
Okay, the first guideline is the one that all nutritionists stress, and that is eat a variety of foods. And the reason we stress eat a variety of foods is because many people don't realize that your body really needs over 40 different nutrients, and there's no one food that's going to give you all of those nutrients. So only by eating a variety of foods can you safely assume that you are going to meet your nutrient needs. That means if you like very few foods and you eat the same thing every day, it is possible that there could be some minor nutrients that you were not really getting.
In other words, there are certain foods that are good for you, but if sticking just to that food and not having a variety, you're in trouble.
That's true. Variety is really important, and we counsel people to choose a variety by putting foods into 5 groups, just as an easy educational tool. One group is the milk group, so we tell them to have a couple of servings every day of milk or cheese or yogurt or cottage cheese or some milk substitute.
Okay.
Another group is the meat group. And in the meat group, we like to stress that they can have beef, pork, egg, peanut butter, dried legumes, fish, poultry. And we usually like to stress that it would appear to be good, again, if they had a variety, if they had several servings of poultry and fish a week, as well as several servings of beef and pork. So their whole diet is not just red meat, and their whole diet is not just peanut butter or eggs or whatever. Another group is the fruit and vegetable group, and that includes, the interesting thing about that, if you listed all the fruits and vegetables, there's 50, 60, 70, 80 different fruits and vegetables, but people tend to think of corn and beans and potatoes. And so if we could get people to branch out and include good sources of green leafy vegetables, fresh spinach is delicious in a salad, although some people don't prefer cooked. Broccoli appears to be a very popular vegetable. Interestingly enough, it's a very popular vegetable at Purdue with the students. Brussels sprouts, those types of vegetables. Fresh tomatoes are popular in Indiana. All of those are good sources. And then fruit, all kinds of fruit. And then the 4th group is the grain group, and this is where we put whole grain or enriched breads, cereals, macaroni, noodle, rice products. And then the 5th group has a weird name. It's called the others group. And that's where we put donuts and oil and butter and margarine and primarily fats and sweets that contribute some nutrients, but also contribute a primary amount of calories.
Okay.
And so we ask
potato
people,
chips or French fries or
right,
whatever go in the other.
we ask people to select a variety of foods from those groups every day.
I see. So what you're telling me is one of the craze of the last 2-3 years has been salads, and I know people, including my wife, who really enjoy a salad. And sometimes that's all they seem to have for a day is a salad for lunch and a salad for dinner and not much for breakfast. That's not a good diet either, though.
That's not a good varied diet in terms of the one clue that we would use to evaluate would be were those 4 food groups there. And that would be one way that we evaluate people's diet. Each of those food groups speaks to a different set of nutrients. And that's, the foods weren't arbitrarily put in those groups. They were put there because it spoke to certain nutrients. So that's why we're concerned that there be foods from each food group each day.
In your estimation, and maybe we're getting a little off the subject, but in your estimation, there are so many pills now that are supposedly to curb your appetite. Do you advise these kind of things, or do you think people should try to get into a diet control plan working with a doctor? That's my first question. Secondly, if these pills do make sense, you have to watch a balance of what you are eating at the same time. Let's talk a little bit about the use of medication to curb appetite and what effect that can have, and what concerns we should have with that.
As a nutritionist, and I would think that most physicians would agree with me, I would prefer that people did not get into the stimulants to help them lose weight. And
Is that what they are, actually, a stimulant in most cases?
Most of them are stimulants. Now, there are some on the market over the counter now that are not stimulants, but most of them are stimulants. They stimulate your central nervous system, and you overcome this excessive urge to eat. So they do help to control your appetite. However, most researchers have found that the effect is very temporary, and to continue getting that effect, the person needs to take more of the medication, and that's where the danger lies, is a way to control it. Anytime someone has medication, they're their own control. The dietitian and the doctor's not giving it to them just when they need it. So that would be my major concern.
Mm-hmm.
My other concern is, I mentioned that weight control is multidisciplinary, and it really includes this behavior modification. We want people to relearn how to eat what's healthy for them, not depend on a pill.
Okay.
And so it all depends on what you want to do the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to take a pill every day, or would you like the satisfaction of knowing that you yourself have enough willpower to control your life?
Mm-hmm. And at the same time, if you're going to go on a diet, then get with a doctor or get with somebody who is really knowledgeable.
We definitely recommend, if you have a large amount of weight to lose, that you definitely should have a thorough physical before that. And you should find out what you're doing. And there are good available information, good sources available, which
Such
are not
as?
fat. It's the Extension Service through Purdue University, which is federal tax money, pays for extension specialists in different discipline areas, and their job is to take the university and take it to the public. And so they're excellent people.
I see.
They put on programs on weight control in all the counties in Indiana. And so there are really many good places.
What about the programs such as the ones, we won't mention any names, that you can find, that you go to an organization for which you pay, and they set you up on hopefully a diet, and you get up every week and you talk about how much weight you've lost, and I'll give you a round of applause, and you come back the next week, and those kinds of different organizations that are commercial organizations that do that. Are they typically, from your experience, do they provide you with suggestions of a well-balanced diet?
Some of them do. Some of them I have absolutely no qualms against recommending.
Mm-hmm.
These are the ones that combine the three components I mentioned: good information about a diet,
I see.
some behavior modification, and exercise.
I see.
And those programs I have no problem with. The programs which actually prepare the food, and you actually spend a lot of money buying their food, is not teaching you a new way to eat. It's not making you able to control what you do at home.
I see.
And so those programs I have some problems with.
Unless you tend to stay with the direction they give you for the rest of your life.
Unless you're indebted to them for the rest of your life. And that I have a problem with. I also have a problem. We have a general guideline that we would like for people not to go below about 1,000 calories a day, because it takes about 1,000 calories a day of plain good food to provide your nutrients. And some of these programs do get lower than that, and we get concerned about that.
I see.
So almost everyone can lose on 1,000 calories a day.
Surely.
So we are recommending a level which would give a weight loss. Everybody's individual in their energy needs, but we recommend a weight loss of 1 to 1.5, maybe up to 2 pounds a week, which is 8 to 10 pounds a month. And
8 to 10 pounds a month.
And there are programs which would follow those guidelines. We would not recommend any programs that would have you lose 5 pounds before next Saturday, or 10 pounds by Wednesday, or something like that, or 25 pounds by Christmas.
It'd be great to push buttons to be able to do that. We are talking this morning with Assistant Professor at Purdue University, Olivia Bennett Wood, who is in the Department of Foods and Nutrition. And we're talking this morning about nutrition and proper diet and weight control. And this morning before our program, we had a chance to chat a little bit before we went on the air this morning. We talked about what happens to people that overdo weight loss and what can happen. I told a story about a friend of mine who lost too much weight and became very seriously ill. Let's talk about the warnings and concerns about losing too much weight.
I think the primary problem is losing too much weight too quickly. And again, that would be a problem with some of the items on the market, such as the liquid protein mixtures, which again does not provide food from all four food groups,
Right.
such as we mentioned. The primary problem with that, people tend to forget that they may have spent 10 or 20 years gaining this 20 or 30 pounds, but yet they like to lose it in 2 months or a month or
Right.
3 weeks. And your body just does not physiologically adjust to that very well. If you lose massive amounts of weight too quickly, you begin to lose your resistance to normal infections. So we would, again, much prefer that people pace themselves. And while they're pacing themselves, they have time to relearn how to eat.
I see.
It sounds funny in a way to talk about relearning how to eat because it was like when we learned how to walk, we don't
Right.
remember it. But
Right.
it is a relearning process. I can give you one small example of that. In a behavior modification program, we would do a very extensive review of what you did for 3 days. Watch you carefully, record what you're thinking, who you're talking to, where you are, as well as what you're eating and how much you're eating.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would look at that and we often begin to see patterns. We see that perhaps it's not what the person is always eating during the day, but that every time the TV comes on, that signifies in their brain to get the pop and the beer. So we try to somehow eliminate this external cue, which is signifying getting the pop and the beer. We try to retrain them to only eat when they have a place setting in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
And not very many men are going to leave the football game to go set the table to have pop and beer. So it's not necessarily that they're hungry for pop and beer. They may have just gotten up from the dinner table. It's just this external cue of seeing these. So we have to find out what those cues are and retrain them around those. It's really interesting.
It really gets into the area of where people get in the habit of nervousness. They're going to eat. They need something to do, and so they eat. And as their nervous system gives a desire of wanting something to do, they eat, and they have this tremendous food intake. And for example, I have that problem late at night.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have to eat, but boy, after 10 o'clock, I'm just in trouble around the refrigerator.
Now, what we would do behavior modification is we would either try to substitute something extremely low in calories for that, if we could not remove the fact that you really need to eat, or we would substitute some other activity.
Mhm.
Eating is an activity, and we
Mhm.
would substitute some other activity that you can find equal enjoyment in.
What are great in-between meal snacks that really don't cause a lot of calorie intake and yet are good for you?
Fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Cereal for children.
Really?
Dry cereal for children would be good, and they can carry a little box around, a little box of raisins, a piece of cheese. Everybody's heard of carrot sticks and celery sticks. I think
Exactly.
that those probably aren't so popular because they require some preparation.
Right.
And one of the things that we try to get people to do is plan for their snacks. And if you plan for your snacks, the day that you bring home the groceries, you wash and clean and scrape and cut up all the celery and the carrots right then, and you put them in the refrigerator.
In
and
a
then,
bowl of water. That's my.
And
wife
then
does
when the child comes home to school,
Right.
rather than there being cookies in the cabinet,
Right.
that's just as easy to grab out of the refrigerator. And so this child becomes trained to grab something that is better for him
Right.
because the other's not there.
A little tip. I don't know, maybe it's common knowledge, but my wife takes carrot sticks and celery, puts it in a bowl of water in the refrigerator, and lets it float around there. Keeps it fresh.
It keeps them crisp.
Will they lose any of their nutrition floating around in hot water?
Probably not in
Okay.
cold water in the
Not that
refrigerator.
there's much nutrition in celery.
Once that it has been crisp up, it can be put in a plastic bag in the refrigerator, and that would suffice.
You talked about cereals, and that is an area we've seen a lot of programs on television about. We've read articles about this tremendous waste of money that people put in a cereal that are loaded with sugar and aren't going to do any nutrition. Is that true?
There are obviously many cereals on the market that are heavily sugar-coated. However, there's probably not a whole lot of difference between your child pouring himself a box of cereal and putting sugar on top of it from the sugar bowl and eating sugar that has some sugar coating.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where we would be most concerned about the sugar intake for children if they were not obese would be dental caries. And so the way around that would, first of all, to be sure that he has some liquid to drink or brushes his teeth after eating sugar-coated cereal. Number two, that he eats other foods. He doesn't eat just that. One bowl of sugar-coated cereal a day is not going to hurt anybody. And it's so convenient.
Sure.
And they are frequently very nutritious because they're fortified. Okay. So as a nutritionist, I don't get so uptight about the sugar-coated cereal like some people do, as long as it's kept in moderation with everything else. Cereal is one of the foods in the grains group.
So you wouldn't necessarily recommend those in-between meal snacks being necessarily always sugared cereal. That's going to be too much sugar.
Right. I wouldn't recommend those in-between snacks for children being things that tended to be gooey and sweet. Peanut butter and jelly, unfortunately, would be terrible because the peanut butter is a good source of protein and a very good food, but the jelly's sticky. And it may, unless the child brushes his teeth, that's one of the worst foods in terms of promoting cavities because it sticks to the teeth, as would be candy bars. Again, fruit would be something that which would not promote cavities because it tends to cleanse the teeth because of the texture of it.
I see. I have a friend who's a dentist where I'm from in Minnesota, and he will always kiddingly say to me, "Tell your kids to eat a lot of candy." Because obviously he'll get a lot of business. He wants the business. But of course he's joking. But he's serious too at the same time. He's trying to say it's one of the worst things you can eat.
And it's because it's sticky. It's because it sticks around in the mouth cavity for a while and promotes cavities.
Even a hard piece of candy?
Even a hard piece of candy, unless you drink a beverage, preferably water after it, to really rinse your mouth out. Even a hard. What happens? I want to get back to the guidelines, but what's really happening here is you're having cavities is dependent on a whole bunch of things. One is a person, and one is having bacteria in the mouth, which is normally there, and another is introducing a food source. And when you introduce a food source, what happens is enzymes in your mouth are more likely to work and to form bacteria from plaque that's normally adhered to your teeth. And we find that that's a very pH-dependent thing. pH, for those people that wouldn't know it, is a measure of acidity and alkalinity.
Right.
What happens when you introduce a really sweet food like candy is the pH drops on the plaque in your mouth to an acidic enough level that the enamel can be demineralized. And that lasts for about 30 minutes each time you eat something sweet. Now, what that means is the frequency of eating something sweet becomes just as important as the fact that you ate something sweet. The child that's put together with a bottle of fruit juice and it lolls in their mouth all night long has that process happening all night long.
I see. So you're saying even if you're out somewhere and you had some candy or whatever of the sweet variety that may stick to your mouth, most do, then at least get a glass of water. Get a glass of water and rinse your mouth out. You can't stop and brush in the middle of the afternoon usually. I cannot see my little John running around with a piece of candy and then a glass of water. But I would say it would be excellent advice for mothers to know about. There's another area of food nutrition that I want to talk about. And I do want to get back to your guidelines, but there is an area that most Americans today are in the habit of going to the fast food restaurant, whether they have an arch or not, whether it's a hamburger, a pizza, or a taco. What kind of nutrition do we see in that kind of food?
Interestingly enough, there have been a lot of surveys which have taken food from fast food institutions and analyzed them nutritionally, and the nutrients are there. We don't really have to worry about the nutrients not being there. The only problem, and there's a way around this at any fast food place that you would prefer to eat, the only problem is calories. They do tend to be higher in calories than people would need for one meal.
I see.
An example of that, I'm a 34-year-old woman. I need about 1,800 calories a day. If I had a large hamburger at a fast food place and some fries and a milkshake, I would have almost 1,000. Now, that's just one meal.
That's right.
Out of three.
Right.
So the way around that would be for me to have a small hamburger and some milk. And that would cut the calories by 400, 500, 600. So it's putting the combinations together at the fast food places. The nutrients are there. I do want to stress that the nutrients are usually there. If milk or milkshake is not chosen, we would not have that group represented from the milk group. But the nutrients are usually there. It's the calories that we're concerned about. The one other concern is the fruit and vegetable group.
You're not going to get them at a fast food restaurant.
You do get tomato and lettuce on a hamburger. but
You also get a
that's
pickle,
not
but
really,
that's not going to do
yeah,
any good.
it's not considered a serving. So what we tell educators to do when they work with people is if you're a homemaker and your family eats out every day at fast food, then that makes fruits and vegetables all that more important at breakfast and dinner at home.
You're a very large believer, I would assume, in counting calories, matching your needs a day with how much calories you take in a day.
Well, you need to be aware of it. I don't always do the best job
I see.
myself, but you do need to be aware of it. And again, there are a lot of good sources to get that type of information,
Like
like the Extension Service, the
Extension.
Food Nutrition Extension Service.
Well, at the conclusion of the show, I want to talk about where you would suggest in the library they could look to.
Okay.
What kind of books to get. But one of the other areas that America, and especially men, and especially with, unfortunately, the increase of heart problems the last few years, has been watching cholesterol. First of all, tell our audience what is cholesterol, and then let's talk a little bit about the concerns over cholesterol.
Okay. That's one of the guidelines. In fact, that's kind of a good way to get back to the guidelines
Good.
because I did want to get through them.
Good.
In fact, we mentioned the first guideline, eat a variety of foods. The second one we've talked about in detail, it's maintain ideal weight. And the third one is avoid too much fat, saturated fat, and cholesterol. Now, cholesterol is a fat which is found only in animal foods. What I mean by that would be beef, pork, poultry, fish, eggs, whole milk, butter, lard.
Okay.
It is not found in vegetable foods. Saturated fat is also a fat that is primarily found in animal foods, the same ones that I mentioned.
What's the difference between fat and saturated fat?
Well, saturated fat chemically has a more complex structure. That's really the only difference chemically.
Is it because it's prepared?
No, it simply has a more complex chemical structure.
Okay.
Generally, and this is a really rough rule of thumb, but generally saturated fats tend to be hard at room temperature, like the fat around the piece of steak.
Right.
Or butter or lard.
Okay.
And generally fats that are unsaturated or polyunsaturated tend to be more liquid at room temperature, like corn oil or safflower oil.
Okay.
Okay. The current dietary guideline is to avoid too much of those. And what we mean by too much, Americans are already doing this somewhat because they have certainly switched to margarines from butter. They have tended to increase servings of poultry and fish, which are less saturated than beef and pork.
Oh, depending on how they're prepared, of course.
Depending on how they're prepared. Now, if they choose to fry them and they fry them in a vegetable product, they're adding fat, but they're not adding saturated fat.
Okay.
So they're adding calories, but they're not adding saturated fat. If they choose to only use butter rather than margarine, then they are using a saturated fat.
Okay.
And there has been a tremendous amount of controversy over that. I think there's two or three things I really want to say about cholesterol. Cholesterol, first of all, people should realize is a dietary essential. It is produced in your body. You may eat it in food, but it is also produced in your body. It is a very important substance in your body. It is necessary to produce a lot of hormones. Which some of which make you a man and me a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of them are very important in your body. And so when we do have a problem with cholesterol in the blood and we do decrease it somewhat in the diet, we are not taking away all the cholesterol from that person because their body is producing that.
I see.
And the reason I mention that is to bring up my fact that cholesterol is not all bad. People have used that word synonymously with the word bad, and that's not true at all. Many researchers are beginning to think that cholesterol is not really the culprit that we originally maybe thought it to be, and that heart disease, of which cholesterol has been linked in the past, is a very multidisciplinary problem. You are increased at risk to get heart disease if you have a weight problem. You are also increased if you have a genetic history, if you have a history of diabetes, if you are inactive, if you are in a stressful job, if you have high blood pressure. A lot of those don't have anything to do with.
Wonder one called Nightlife on Lafayette's album Rock, US 93.
What's happening in this US93 sticking it to you this morning at 9 o'clock. Where tomorrow night at 9 o'clock on the amateur hour, we're going to have Andy Dybel in here. Now, Andy, along with being a student at Purdue, has also helped us with our various research projects around here for some time now as an intern at US93. He plans on playing Stones, some Tom Petty, Boston Survivor, and lots more. So see how Andy does on his first time on commercial radio tomorrow night at 9 o'clock on our US93 amateur hour. He's also worked at the Purdue radio stations, and so he's, I think, looking forward to his big break, right? So speaking of having breaks here, Willard's on the radio this morning doing news for us here. I'm not sure who it's a break for.
Well, thanks.
For myself, so I can sit here and just listen to you with the news this morning. How do you like radio so far, huh?
Well, I think that the biggest plus about radio is that you can come in looking sleepy and have stubble on your face and no one will care.
I never know. No bright lights, no cameras,
Mm-hmm.
no director saying, on cue.
Yeah, that's very convenient sometimes.
It is. If people only knew some things that go on around here, we'd be in trouble.
You bet. You bet.
What's
Hey,
up?
Well, you know, Gaddafi and his team of terrorist specialists over there in Libya have been spending some time in the United States recently, and they're after President Reagan, so they say. President Reagan says he's taking these reported Libyan plots against his life seriously. U.S. intelligence officials are concerned about reports that a terrorist team trained in Libya has been sent to the United States to kill top government officials. One of the big things they're worried about are missiles against the presidential limousine and the presidential airplane.
Which apparently has some kind of devices installed now to help avoid any kind of missiles, right?
Mm-hmm. I think they've got a radar detection system now, even in the car, plus all the bulletproofing and the electronic gizmos and gadgets that go with, getting communications back to the White House and so forth. I guess they probably even have a coffee maker, too.
What a bulletproof coffee maker, right? Yeah. A bomb-proof coffee maker. Right?
Good to have when you're in a tight spot.
Mr. Bomb-proof. Yeah,
My Ronco.
Right.
Yeah.
Whamco.
Hey, if you're buying toys this Christmas, investigators for the Consumer Product Safety Commission have not found a single unsafe toy on Christmas shelves this season. It could be that manufacturers are paying more attention to the child's safety this year. The watchdogs for the commission are saying that they've inspected all of the new toys released for this season and have found all of them to be safe and within their standards. It's nice to grow old gracefully, but it's also nice to grow old in style. It appears that a retired New Mexican field hand, Jesus Coronado, finally met the end of his rope, just 3 weeks short of his 130th birthday. Coronado died last week, but before he died, he said that he's fathered some 19 children, the last of which occurred at age 85. He was reportedly born on Christmas Day in 1851. Looking at sports, it was a big night last night for many of the Lafayette area teams. Lafayette Jeff down Kokomo 67-54. Central Catholic, though, wasn't quite as lucky. They lost to Western Boone 58-43. McCutcheon triumphed over Delphi 77-63. And West Lafayette squeaked by North Montgomery 50-48.
LMG Records, the small store in the Purdue West Shopping Plaza, offers you the tightest kept record stock in the Lafayette, West Lafayette area. Plus, small prices on the music you want. Like Kenny Rogers' Christmas album from Capitol Records, specially priced now at LMG for only $5.99.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
Anne Murray sends you her Christmas wishes now on sale at LMG Records for only $4.99.
Sleigh bells ring, are you listening?
Holiday savings from Capitol Records and LMG include the new double live album by Bob Seger, 9 Tonight, for only $8.99.
Seems like yesterday, but it was long ago.
John Hall's new All of the Above album is at LMG Records too for only $5.99. Great music from Capitol Records at special holiday savings are available now at the Little Store, LMG Records in the Purdue West Shopping Plaza, West Lafayette.
Let me tell you the secret to winning McDonald's $500,000 double break game. The double break game.
You say every word twice?
No. Just play it all day long and you can win $1,000, $5,000, even $10,000. But play the double break game at breakfast and win, double.
Oh, up to $20,000?
Uh-huh. Win double at breakfast. Right.
You can say that again.
No purchase necessary, 16 years or older to play. Void where prohibited. Game ends 1/24 or while supplies last at participating McDonald's.
In the village is the village bookseller.
Where they sell books?
Yes, where they sell books. Beautiful books for Christmas giving, adventure books, history books, story books, children's books, special bargain books. Hundreds are listed in their free catalog.
And besides books,
there's everything a Purdue fan could need. Jackets, sweaters, and shirts, hats and caps, but mostly at the village bookseller, a delightful selection of affordable books. The Christmas gift that's always in.
the village bookseller, 308 State Street, West Lafayette, in the village.
Okay, it's 4 before 9 o'clock in the morning. Stuart and Willard here at Lafayette's US93. What's forecast like?
Well, the forecast is for good weather, at least from a sunlight standpoint today. However, if you don't like the cold, it's not a good day to be out because we're only going to have a high of 40 degrees this afternoon. Wind chill will also be prevalent, and we expect wind chill temperatures anywhere between 15 and 25 degrees above zero.
So bundle up, right?
Bundle up. Westerly winds are out there to get you. Otherwise, tonight, going to be clear but cold with a low down in the 20s again. We had a low of 26 last night. Tonight, the low will probably dip down to 25. And tomorrow, sunny and warmer, high up into the mid-40s. I'm going for 45. And as I've been saying, it looks like Monday and Tuesday we're going to see a warming trend with maybe temperatures in the 50s. But we won't reach our record high. Incidentally, it wouldn't it be nice to have a high of 66 like they did back in 1962 on the state?
It would be nice, yes. When's the last time you've been gonged here lately?
Well, I think it was,
Last
think
night?
about that one. No, I may have been gonged after I left the TV station. No, actually.
Had your bell rung, huh?
So to speak. No, I think it was last week, Friday, as a matter of fact. It was for Friday's forecast for that Saturday, and I got gonged this Monday. But, you know, that's the way Mondays goes. You got to start out on Monday with a real bummer.
Really, a big bang or a big gong. Oh, well. We'll check back in about half an hour, Willard. Thank you very much. Let's get on some Led Zepp and ramble on at Lafayette's US93.
Leaves are falling all around. Time I was on my way. Thanks to you, I'm much obliged for such a pleasant stay. But now it's time for me to go. The autumn moonlight's my way. But now I smell the rain, and with it came, and it's heading my way. Sometimes I grow so tired, but I know I've got one thing I got to do. Ramble on, and now the time is now. Sing my song, I'm going round the world, and I find my girl on my way. This way, 10 years to the day. Ramble on, find the queen of all my dreams. Got no time for spreading rumors. The time has come to be gone. And though our health we drank 1,000 times, it's time to ramble on. Sing my song. I'm going round the world. I gotta find my girl. how years ago, in days of old, when magic filled the air. Just in the darkest depths of Mordor, I met a girl so fair. But Gollum, the evil one, crept up and slipped away with her, yeah. And ain't nothing I can do now. I guess I'll keep on rambling. I'm gonna see I gotta find my baby. I'm gonna ramble on, sing my song, gonna work my way around the world, baby. Ramble on, yeah. Do, my baby. Oh, baby. I guess I do. Every night, I think I got to fall. Gotta keep searching for my baby.
Her hair is hollow gold, her lips sweet surprise. Her hands are never cold. She's got Betty Davis eyes. She'll turn her music on you. You won't have to think twice. She's pure as New York snow. She got Betty Davis eyes. And she'll tease you, she'll unease you, all the better just to please you. She's precocious, and she knows just what it takes to make a pro blush. She got Greta Garbo, stand-up size. She's got Betty Davis eyes. She'll let you take her home. Where's her appetite? She'll lay you on the throne. She got Betty Davis eyes. She'll take a tumble on you, roll you like you were dice, until you come out blue. She's got Betty Davis eyes. She'll expose you when she snows you, off your feet with the crumbs she throws you. She's ferocious, and she knows just what it takes to make it pro blush. All the boys think she's a spy. She's got Betty Davis eyes. She'll tease you, she'll unease you, all the better just to please you. She's precocious, and she knows just what it takes to make it pro blush. All the boys think she's a spy. She's got Betty Davis eyes. You, she'll unease you, just to please you. She's got Betty Davis eyes. She'll expose you when she snows you. She knows ya. She's got
WXUS, Lafayette, US93.
My life for a while was a party, but then I finally came around. once again I began to start it, to get my feet on solid ground. This living with some fallen angels was like to burn me down, to where I can see that love is bittersweet. Whoa, bittersweet. I felt like a fool for believing that I could run on shaky ground. When all of the tracks I was leaving, I left the trail more lost and found. Nobody said love was easy, but I know it's cold and high. Son, believe it or not, it tastes bittersweet. Whoa, bittersweet. Whoa, bittersweet. Bittersweet romance, hold it hot. You say you love her now. You win, I lose, I give, you take. But finally it gets down to be a place where love can taste so bittersweet. Whoa, bittersweet. Whoa, bittersweet. Whoa, bittersweet. Bittersweet romance, hold it hot. She says she loves you now. She wins, I give. Till finally it gets down to be a place where love can taste so bittersweet. Whoa, bittersweet love. Whoa, bittersweet. Whoa, bittersweet love. Whoa, bittersweet love. Whoa, bittersweet love.
Is love so fragile and the heart so hollow? Shadow with the words impossible to follow. Saying I'm fragile, try not to be. I search only something I can't see. I have my own life, and I'm stronger than you know.
cities. Lennon was slain last December 8th outside his New York apartment. Featured singers will be David Clayton Thomas and Roberta Flack. Performances will be in Cincinnati, New Haven, Connecticut, New York City, and Newark, New Jersey. Sounds like a good idea. Nice to see some of the other forms of music playing tribute to such a fine musician. Well, in sports, it's going to be a busy day. Notre Dame is hosting UCLA this afternoon, with Purdue taking a road trip to DePaul. Indiana Central plays Ball State, while Indiana State is at home against Evansville. Other action, we're going to have Hanover at a Hoosier Buckeye Conference game with Manchester, and Taylor has an HBC date at Defiance.
Announces the end of the year savings sale with super discounts on the 1981 front-wheel drive sensation Chevy Citation and great savings on the front-wheel drive Cavalier, the complete precision-built car with 43 standard features. It's a year-end sale and just in time for the winter snow driving. Test drive one of these super front-wheel drive performers today. There's a reason Chevrolet's front-wheel drive cars are out in front. Don't wait. Selection's good. The savings are great. The year-end sale now at DeFau Lafayette.
They're going out of business. The sale continues at the Pants Explosion in the Chauncey Hill Mall, West Lafayette. Everything must be sold. Men's, ladies, kid sizes, and Levi, Britannia, Oshkosh, Lee, and designer fashions are priced from 80% off regular price. Also, unwashed Levi and Lee boot bottom and straight legs are just $13.99. Kids fashion and men's and ladies sweaters are all marked down in time for Christmas. Don't miss the bargains at the going out of business sale at the Pants Explosion, Chauncey Hill Mall, West Lafayette.